Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, I guess that ended quickly. You know, at this point, I guess we're not talking about Plan B, but rather maybe Plan Z. Democrats have already used up Plan A, B, C, D, going on and on. Of course, none of it worked, and so in a desperate bid to stop Donald Trump at any and all cost, they decided if we can't beat him, well, maybe we could just kick him out of the race. If he won't go away himself voluntarily, then let's involuntarily remove him from the ballot. Of course, this sounded like a fantastic idea, not only to Democrats, but even to some never-Trump neocon losers, who as usual love jumping on the bandwagon when it comes to this Nancy Pelosi Trump witch hunt tactics. Well, they tried it. They made their argument using the 14th Amendment, making the argument that Trump betrayed his oath to the Constitution, and therefore he should be disqualified and removed from ballots. You know, nothing screams democracy like working to remove your opponent from the ballot, and well, they certainly tried, but tried and failed once again. Not sure where the Democrats are with their next plan, but Trump gets a massive win in the courts, hopefully setting legal precedent to stop this ridiculous little antic. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so here's the headline from the Gateway Pundit. Federal judge dismisses case trying to keep Trump off the 2024 ballot. A federal judge on Friday dismissed a lawsuit filed by a Florida lawyer who claimed Trump should be banned from the 2024 ballot for inciting an insurrection. The legal theory is based on Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment, which states public officials who have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the U.S. must be disqualified from holding public office. Trump has not been charged with engaging in insurrection or rebellion against the United States. Judge Robin Rosenberg, a U.S. District Judge for the Southern District of Florida, ruled the attorney Lawrence Kaplan lacks standing to bring the suit. Plaintiff's lack of standing to challenge defendants' qualifications for seeking the presidency, Rosenberg, an Obama appointee, wrote, adding that the injuries alleged from the insurrection on Capitol Hill more than 2 years ago are not cognizable and not particular to them. And of course, I'm sure we need a dictionary here whenever reading legalese. Cognizable is classified as perceptible, clearly identifiable, or within the jurisdiction of a court is the legal definition. Essentially, these little clown lawyers apparently have no standing to challenge Donald Trump's qualifications, or I guess eligibility, to seek the presidency. The judge also stated an individual citizen does not have standing to challenge whether another individual is qualified to hold public office. So these little ridiculous, frivolous Democrat lawsuits challenging Donald Trump seem officially dead in the water. And so I guess the only option left for Democrats and neocon losers is a political pressure campaign targeting Secretary of States on a state level. And trust me when I tell you that that's pretty much the next step here. That's going to happen. But even then, well, because it already is,
have reignited a debate over whether Donald Trump lawfully can be on the ballot in 2024 in their state. This dispute took off after an attorney who Trump endorsed for Senate, I should note, in 2020, urged the Secretary of State to review whether Trump is ineligible to run for office under the 14th Amendment. This, of course, bars any American official who has taken an oath to uphold the Constitution from holding future office if they later engaged in, quote, an insurrection or rebellion. The man behind this push in New Hampshire, Corky Messner, joins me now. Corky, of course, as I noted, it bears repeating, you were endorsed by Trump when you ran for the U.S. Senate, I should note, and you recently met with New Hampshire Secretary of State to urge him to seek legal guidance on this issue before the Republican primary. Why?
Well, it's an important issue, Caitlin, and I think that because we're in the first in the nation primary here, it's important that this issue get decided as soon as possible, because if it gets decided after the first in the nation primary here in New Hampshire, then the New Hampshire voters will be disenfranchised. So he's seeking guidance from the Attorney General. I think that's a good move on his part, and everyone's awaiting his decision. And then based on that decision, we'll decide how best to proceed. It's, the Bot article that talks about this, it's very, very compelling that Donald Trump is in fact disqualified. And I know the Secretary of State has that article. I suspect he's read it. I suspect the Attorney General has read it. And I think it's an issue that needs to get to the United States Supreme Court just as expeditiously as possible. so we can
Yeah.
get guidance from the court.
Former Trump-backed New Hampshire candidate tries to remove Trump from the 2024 ballot. Bryant Corky Messner was the Republican nominee for New Hampshire's U.S. Senate race in 2020. At the time, he touted his support for then-incumbent President Donald Trump. Well, he's now arguing that Trump should be removed from the ballot. A little effort was started in the state, but it seems like it's not going anywhere. New Hampshire Secretary of State backs down, not seeking to remove Trump from the ballot. New Hampshire Secretary of State David Scanlon told NBC News on Monday that he is not seeking to remove any names from the Republican primary ballot after Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk urged his supporters to call Scanlon's office following reports that Scanlon was weighing using the 14th Amendment to keep former President Trump off the ballot. Now, obviously, you'd have to be a complete lunatic Secretary of State to even attempt this, and in a relatively moderate state like New Hampshire, it's simply not happening. Well, there are some places where they might actually try to pursue this. You know, Michigan comes to mind immediately. Just searched it up, and of course the hunch was correct. State election officials prepare for efforts to disqualify Trump under the 14th Amendment. New Hampshire, Michigan, and Arizona are now bracing for lawsuits. So I guess in a way there is a backup plan to the Democrat backup plan, but I mean, come on. As if this effort isn't going to backfire in spectacular fashion. We got rogue district attorneys indicting former President Trump during an election season. Now we're going to see rogue Secretary of States trying to force him off the ballot, which is obviously a legal issue that's going to end up at the Supreme Court in expedited fashion. But with the clear conservative majority on the Supreme Court, it's simply not going to stand. It's not going to happen. And obviously, Democrats are taking a big gamble here, trying to push him off the ballot, trying to indict him. If they don't win these cases, I mean, theoretically, it should be pretty much as good as game over. If they indict President Trump and they don't have slam dunk cases, if they don't have the ability to present irrefutable evidence of serious felonies, which obviously is going to be hard, the January 6th case is incredibly weak. The documents case isn't exactly black and white, it's quite gray. You know, making that kind of a decision kind of depends on your interpretation of the Presidential Records Act. The Georgia case is using the RICO Act, assuming this massive conspiracy. The case has so many holes in it, so many assumptions. It's also legally speculative, making these grand assumptions of what the intent was and what was meant. And then on top of that, the New York case, a zombie case trying to bring from the dead an FEC investigation that pretty much already concluded and cleared Donald Trump of any wrongdoing. You know, it's going to be hard for any of this to stick. Well, if it doesn't stick, could you imagine how bad they're going to look? What that's going to mean to the average person casting their ballot? Apparently, all of them were trash cases that either went on forever and produced nothing, or fell flat and led to a total acquittal. Not exactly a good look, kind of adds to the whole witch hunt argument. Then on top of that, if Secretary of State's now attempt to pull him off the ballot, and that effort gets shot down by the Supreme Court, showing Democrats once again acting totally unconstitutionally. Again, you know, just adding to the list. Not a good look. The main ingredient to mass red pilling. People waking up and seeing exactly what's going on. Like I always say, once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's pretty much the way it works. It's a big gamble. It's a risky play from the other side. We'll have to see exactly where it goes, but my assumption, or at least in a just world, these attempts to subvert democracy should not only fail, but they should backfire spectacularly. And hopefully, that's the outcome that we're going to see here. But of course, like anything in these crazy times, it's kind of hard to predict anything. We'll just have to see how the cookie crumbles. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. You know, we'd love to have you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.